If you decide that you're going to give your attention to this grid and that you want it to fill in with something that feels good to you, and give it emotional words. I feel appreciation, or I feel love, or I feel enthusiasm. And sometimes you don't feel it, but as you say it, as you establish your determination, doesn't it kind of feel good when the chatter stops? When you're not trying so hard to talk yourself into it, or explain your way into it or out of it, or get somebody else to get it, or to justify it, or defend it, or to protest against it, but just feel the grid. Feel it, feel it, feel it. Reach for an emotion and find it and feel it. An emotion like peace. Or an emotion like appreciation. What does the word love do for you? If you're in the middle of something that makes you feel anger, reaching for this basis, this grid, might be harder to do. But even in your small effort at doing it, it will slow down the momentum of whatever's going on. And if you start your day by reaching for it, that really is the power of meditation. Because in meditation, as you quiet your mind, you are left with that emotional basis that will serve you extremely well. We think you understand this precisely, actually. We think we've hit upon an analogy that will serve you really well. And over the next few days, as you are deliberately creating a grid and then watching it fill in, you're going to begin to feel the power of the grid, the power of your deliberate point of attraction, the power of your alignment with the source within you. You've been listening to us. You come forth from non-physical, and before you were in this physical body, you were non-physical, and you still are. That's a familiar story if you've been listening to us for a while. And part of you came forth into this physical body where you are exploring and taking consciousness forward, not just your consciousness, but all of us. Your exploration of contrast is causing us all to reach into these new places. And once you know what you don't want, and once you know what you do want, once you set that focus into motion, we all, from our non-physical perspective, go right there to that new place, to that new grid that your desire established. And we hold to the vibrational basis of what you have created. Because we know it from top to bottom. We know not only the results you think you're asking for, or the results that you are asking for, we know the emotional basis of them. In other words, we know the essence of what you're reaching for. And we become it and hold our focus steadily on that. So you could say that we are a vibrational, emotional grid that when you reach for the feeling place of it, the influence from us will be mighty. You'll feel it. You'll feel the power and the clarity that comes when you identify something that you desire, and that something that you are desiring is an emotional, good feeling, emotional grid. When you establish a vibrational pattern, usually by virtue of something that you've been observing, that vibrational pattern forms a point of attraction. Recently we've been calling it your emotional grid. It's like the grid or the framework of a building that's going to fill in with more details. But it's an emotional, vibrational grid that is the framework. You walk around in it, it's your point of attraction. And then that grid fills in all day, every day, with things that match the grid, all kinds of manifestations. We want you to feel the power of this grid that is within you. And we want you to recognize that your emotions are always your indicator of what you've been doing, especially lately, with your emotions. And your emotions are coming in response to what you've been thinking, what you've been giving your attention to. So the source within you is aware of who you are and what you want and where you are in relationship to it. But the source within you is only focused upon, and by source within you is such a broad label to define all of us, non-physical, interested parties in your well-being. You see, most of you don't get that. You haven't been focused upon all of this non-physical help that you have. Sometimes it takes someone croaking in order to get your attention. Sometimes somebody who's dear to you, who's important to you, has to reemerge into non-physical before you even start thinking about what they might be thinking about you. But it's our promise to you that once you turn your attention to this non-physical group, isn't a big enough word, of non-physical interest, and you start paying attention to the way you feel, and getting yourself as often as you can in vibrational vicinity so that you can hear the messages, so that you can read the clues. We're going to be talking today a lot about your grid filling in. Have you been hearing us? If you've been listening to us for a little while recently, we've been talking about the grid. Are you aware of it? Yes. Have you been listening to us for a while? Are you aware of the vortex? So the vortex is the vibrational, if you will, holding pattern, place is the wrong word, for the details of what you've been asking for. And you've been creating that vortex for a long time. And it stands as the potential manifestation for you. But most of it is still in vibrational form, ready to be manifested. It manifests when you are in a vibrational state that allows it to show itself to you in more than vibration. So think about it. Your vortex is giving you information all day, every day. The way you feel is your indication of your relationship with it. If you feel really good, you're in good vibrational proximity to your vortex. Now let's define your vortex. Your vortex is the vibrational equivalent of all that you have become. So it holds all of what you would call your wishes, your hopes, your dreams. We would call it your reality, your vibrational reality. Your vortex contains your inner being, the source within you. It is the expanded version of you. And as you stand in your physical beingness, in your happiest moments, you are in such alignment with that vortex that the vortex now begins moving into your experience. Now we've been saying, get into your vortex. Now we're saying to you, you are getting into your vortex, or your vortex is getting into you, but we would like you to form a sort of visual that your vortex is filled with all that you have become, all that you want, all that you have defined that you want. And as you find vibrational alignment with that, then you create a vibrational nucleus. You provide a vibrational environment. You cause yourself to be a vibrational grid that allows those details then to manifest in your experience. And the first manifestation is one of emotion. It's a feeling thing. It's that general thing that we are calling emotion. Emotion is about as general as it gets. Because in emotion, you're feeling. Have you ever felt something so powerfully and you want so much to convey what you're feeling to another with clarity enough that they can hear it and understand it, but you just can't find the words, but you really know how you feel. You know so clearly how you feel. You just can't put it into words. Well, we don't want you to try so hard to put it into words. Just rest with the general feeling, because as you rest with that general feeling, more will fill in. Then words will begin to come. And then ideas will begin to come. And then rendezvous will begin to come. Everything that happens in your experience is a rendezvousing with something experience. We just want to point out to you in this art of allowing environment that if you will put more emphasis upon the one thing that you have control over, and that is your personal relationship with your vortex, and if you are consciously aware of the contents of the vortex, and you are consciously aware of the power of the grid, now you've got everything that you need to put it all together. Now, formerly, we've been telling you the same thing for a while, just not in that easy to understand format. We've been saying to you that there are 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is ask. And life, just through its contrast, causes you to ask. And when you ask, you put it in the vortex, 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 put it in the vortex. Step 2 is source answers. Well, in this context of what we just said to you today, this vortex is this becoming place, environment of all that you've asked for. The source within you literally becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you've been asking for. The book that we wrote a few years ago said, ask and it is given. Today we say, ask and the vortex becomes it. Ask and the vortex becomes what you've asked for. Now the next step, and the question that the Ask book erupted within so many of you is, all right, so I've asked and you say you have given, but where is it? I will sort of kind of accept, Abraham, because you seem credible in some ways, that when I have asked, it has been given, but if it has been given, where is it? And please don't tell me it's in the vortex. It's in the vortex. It's in the vortex. But the question is, how do you get it out of the vortex and into your experience? So we've been saying step 3 is you got to get in the vortex. Step 3 is you have to allow it. But we're giving you a clear way of defining that. Now we're saying to you, and you can hear this, can't you? That you have a vibrational grid going on all the time. You have this grid going on. In fact, you've got a grid about money. You've got a grid about lovers. You've got a grid about employers. You've got a grid about employees. You've got a grid about people in traffic. You have opinions that have caused you to form grids about just about everything in the world. And your grids in any moment in time are stacking up and equaling your point of attraction. So you're walking around with, we love you very much. You know what's coming after that, don't you? You're walking around with sloppy grids. You're walking around with a grid that has been inspired by that experience and a grid that has been inspired by that experience. So you've got all of these reactionary grids going on that are then affecting your relationship with your vortex. And so we want you to stop reacting so much to what's going on. You may have, if you've been listening to us for a while, and some of you have, you may remember us saying to you that most people offer most of their vibration in response to what they're observing. So you're out there observing stuff and creating a grid. And your human, logical mind wants to say, well, Abraham, there are all of these truths that I am aware of. And isn't it prudent for me to observe and sift through and focus upon these truths? And we say, but can you hear the backward nature of that? What you're actually saying is, Abraham, there's stuff that people have got going on with their grids that is manifesting in a way that I can see it. So since they created it and their grid filled in with it, shouldn't I observe it? And we say, yes, if you want your grid to fill in with it. If you like what you see, give it your undivided attention. If you don't want it, turn the other cheek. If you don't want it, give your attention to something else. If you don't want it, create your own grid. And so most humans, it's sort of a cry that's coming from humanity these days. Abraham, we hear you. Abraham, Abraham, we hear you saying, Abraham, I don't get this. How in the world can I offer a vibration apart from what I am observing? And we say, go general. Go general. That's what meditation does for you. That's what petting your cat does for you. That's what caring about how you feel does for you. In other words, you just have to decide that you're going to connect with that basic core grid of well-being. And when you do, what are the things you like to do? Do you like to go to concerts where music moves you? Do you like to put your headphones on and just walk and listen? Do you like to go to comedy clubs, or do you like to walk through gardens? Do you like to be with children? What are the things that ring your bells the most? Because when you think of the things, those instances in life, those high points, you were standing at the top of a mountain, maybe you climbed up it for a little while, maybe it took you an hour, maybe it took you 2 hours, maybe it took you a few days. But when you climbed up there and looked over that edge and saw what you saw and felt that exhilaration, have you ever done that, or have you just seen the movie? Well, in either case, When you feel that exhilaration, when you feel those high peak moments, we want you to understand that that is the way you intended to live, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day, in this physical life experience. You didn't plan on coming and just sort of grinding it out and occasionally